Hi there, GreatScott here, who runs the YouTube channel GreatScott. I'm super sorry that I can't be here today. Life got in the way. I think everyone is familiar with that. But I just wanted to say, I started the YouTube channel GreatScott 11 years ago, I think. Back then, there weren't really that much great YouTube videos about electronics. I actually just got into electronics and I wanted something condensed but fun, but also with lots of details, so everything perfectly together. And there just wasn't any videos like that. So I decided, hey, let's try it for myself. Let's create such YouTube channel. Um, I noticed though there aren't any videos like this because it's super hard to do. My videos sucked at the beginning. No one watched. But over time, it got better. I'm at a point where I'm very happy with it. I do videos about all sorts of electronics, basics, projects, and what I think is most fun, just tackling everyday problems, solving that with electronics, and then getting technical along the way to teach something in a fun way, I would say. And I think I now have 2 million subscribers. It's crazy. People really seem to enjoy that. And I know that there are lots of students today here. So my one advice, if you want to start doing a YouTube channel, is you should only start if you really have fun with it. I started and I quickly noticed, okay, I will not make much money with that in the beginning. And if you're just in for the money, it will not be fun. But I really loved electronics. I still love it. And I really grow with my channel. I learned a lot. Now I know a lot more, and all thanks because I put it all in videos in some way. So yeah, that's the one big advice I have. Please feel free to make a YouTube channel. I won't stop you, but it's a lot easier if you have fun with it.
So a little bit of insight there from GreatScott as to what he does and what inspires him, and some tips and advice to you guys as well that may be considering moving into the content creation and maybe B2B influencing space. If you're standing at the back and you want to take the weight off your feet, feel free to come in. We've got plenty of spare seats here. Come and sit down and join us and learn about content creation in the electronics and semiconductor industry. Now, before we start, we're going to try and make this a little bit interactive. Who here would consider themselves to be Gen Z, Generation Z? Is anyone here young enough? Age-wise, you have to be Gen Z. So a few people around. Who here is not Gen Z, but understands Gen Z? Oh, Patrick's giving it a go. And I think this is half the problem. So Gen Z is a young generation. They've grown up with smartphones. They think the real world and the digital world are the same thing. They don't see a difference between the two, and they spend a lot of time looking at video. And when we talk to Generation Z and look at some of the research that's going on about there, a lot of them see it as a career path, see it as an opportunity to be creators, to be part of media, to talk about the things and passions that they have. Educational content is obviously a big draw. Lots of them use video to find out things on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok. And there's also a huge impact that influencers have. As we said today, everyone we've spoken to here have met their audience, and they just say that the comments are great. You know, it's great fun to see your content. I love learning from you. I've been able to do something or fix a problem that I wasn't able to do without your help. And then there's that youth appeal, obviously, that comes with that. Now, electronics is something that's been dear to my heart since my childhood. I know Brian's exactly the same, and I'm sure Eddie's the same, because I think we're probably all in the same age bracket. We were probably we were influencers before influencers as a term existed, as content creators a term existed. And it's a niche audience for some people, but all these companies that we're seeing here today, they all have marketing teams. They're all looking at ways of reaching out to people, sharing information about their products, trying to get people excited for electronics and semiconductors in order that the next generation of AI computing or very low power IoT sensors or whatever it might be can be made. And we see that through the startups we've got on the stand as well, who we will be awarding later. So that's a bit about what influencer marketing is and how influencers support our community, our semiconductor vendors and electronics manufacturers. So the next step is obviously then to ask them some questions, and feel free to think about your own questions. I'll come to the audience towards the end and see if you've got anything that you'd like to ask them about the process and about how you balance it in your life. So Kamal, let's start with you. You've been in it a while. You consider yourself to be Gen Z. age-wise. So how would you define the role of content creator or B2B influencer? What's it mean to you?
Well, to me, the idea came that if I take a look at the young people, their behavior now, they usually tend to spend a lot of time on Instagram and on TikTok. And the idea came to Rafik and I to inspire these people instead of looking at videos that are maybe considered time a waste of time, is to provide content that is informative and to encourage the young students to also be interested in engineering. Because from my experience, since I was young, I always had my father teaching me about engineering and getting me into this field. But I know that a lot of children maybe don't have these role models in their life that can inspire them to start their journey into engineering. And while they're spending time watching cat videos, cooking videos, football videos, they might as well get inspired and do something that is related to engineering and get into this field.
I'll come to you as well, Eddie, because you're at the other end of the age spectrum, as we already said. Sorry for keep repeating it. But so, I mean, Hassan's made a good point that there's a natural affinity for him and his age group, and he's grown up with social media. I mean, like, how do you approach it? Were you inspired by Taylor Swift, or?
No. So, as you already mentioned, we come from an age where we study from books, but also in the last few years, or like 10 years, every information I need, I really take out from YouTube and learn there. You have it visual, and it's not really replacing a book for me. I see it as an addition, an addition to a book.
Yeah.
And the combination of reading and watching YouTube, I think that's remarkable. This is
So there's an alternative entry point for people to. At the end, you still need the books at some point, but maybe come to them through a different channel.
That's right.
Yeah, super. Now, Max, you've been doing loads of projects. We've been looking at your FPV drone, and we had a little chat about maybe an engineering improvement that could be made there earlier. Actually, well done, you got it with you.
I took it up here.
Yeah, just share with us and the audience for a second what your most popular projects have been and how the audience reacts to them. How do you know that that's really hit the mark?
I felt with my mini FPV drone, I really struck the gold rush in terms of attention, because I know that drones, that is something many people can relate to. Many people have grown up seeing all sorts of remote-controlled cars and drones, but especially drones in particular. So just the way that that thing was designed and put together, using DIY-friendly materials, it has come together really well, and a lot of others have also been able to make their own one. So I took inspiration from another larger FPV drone of mine, that FPV drone style frame, and stitched that together. I put it in a very DIY-friendly package, so it uses completely modular components and all that. And overall, I've seen a number of people also succeeding in making that same drone, which is really just heartwarming to see that I've actually inspired a change in people by being an influencer and putting myself out there just with what I naturally love doing and then making it a reality.
Fantastic. Now, DIY Chris, we were talking yesterday about the LED projects. Tell us a little bit about some of the big successes you've had with the projects and what really resonates.
Okay, well, actually, I like to deal more about like small stuff, because I believe that getting several functionalities and features integrated on one circuit board, it requires small electronics components. That's why I always refer to playing with the small parts, and many people will still don't find the appropriate to deal with these small stuff and just to refer to external suppliers to do the assembly or something like that. It's not a good idea when you start prototyping. So you have to do it yourself to reduce the cost. And I try always to show what's the appropriate way to deal with these stuff. And probably LEDs are getting smaller and smaller. Actually, I didn't notice that the smallest RGB LED cube, RGB addressable LED is a 1 by 1 millimeter of size. Wow. Until I found it in some Chinese manufacturer, because the smallest one was the 2 millimeter by 2 millimeter. And yet, there are more smaller RGB LEDs, but not addressable, of a size of 0.65
Wow.
millimeters. And I have them already on my home lab. I prepared the design, and hopefully I can assemble them. Well, it's not easy, but if you follow just the right steps, you can achieve this. And my job is trying to find out how is the appropriate and most suitable thing, then just document it and put it on a social media so people don't waste time. I take the wasting time, so people just can get it running from just in one shot. Yeah.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's very kind of you as well to do all that preparatory work and help the community along the way.
Exactly.
Now, Brian, I'm going to come over to you. Now, we both work for Elector and contribute it on a daily basis, and we also consumed it as kids. And Elector's history came out of the hobby electronics movement, which was sort of the precursor to becoming a maker, as we call it today. You've spoken to all of the influencers we have on the stage here over the past few months. We do a lot of videos at Elector. What's the resonance been to talking to them and interacting with their community and binding them with the Elector community?
Well, firstly, for me, it's been a lot of fun. You want to fill an hour show and you like, can I find enough topics? We always go over the hour. It's just, they're so interesting. And I think they bring a lot to Elector and vice versa. We're introducing communities to each other. Now, given a lot of Elector readers will already know these guys, but a lot won't. And a lot of your audiences, Max and DIY guy Chris, may not know Elector, so I think it's beneficial for both sides. And it really brings a surge of enthusiasm into the community rather than blah, 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 this is a resistor, you put the resistor in the hole. And you've got exciting projects from DIY guy Chris and from Max and from GreatScott and from Eddie. It's this whole YouTube thing, and it's not just YouTube. It's generational. You've got TikTok, you've got Instagram, but I tend to go YouTube a lot, and it's a phenomenon that's these guys have just exploded, and you can actually end up making a living from it.
Exactly. Now we're going to come on to the topic of monetizing influencers a bit later. Before we get to there, I mean, the term influencer seems to have, if I remember the story correctly, we sort of come out of the B2C world. It's obviously easy to find people who've got a large following, put a lipstick in their hand, put some new trainers in their hand, give them some other object in a consumer environment, and they can quickly talk to camera and share that. Can we see B2B influencing and content creation in this for technical audiences in the same way? Can we just stand in front of the camera and show a resistor and that's enough, or is there more creativity involved?
Well, there should be creativity involved, because if you're just standing there with a development board and showing it, probably the video won't have a good reach, and it's not really informative for the audience. So you'd have to bring in the creativity in deciding what project you want to use the technology for, and also a very big skill that I'm sure all of us have here is trying to create the video in a way that captures the attention of the people, because nowadays, if you look at the behavior of the people on social media, they're just scrolling on their phone, and the first few seconds is always the most important one. And if it's just a normal video, probably it won't have the reach that it should have. So yeah.
Yep, super. Now, if we look at our influencers here on the slide above, you'll notice that the links that we've provided are the ones that they prefer. Some are more on YouTube. Some are more present on Instagram, but obviously they tackle lots of different channels also at the same time. DIY Chris, I wanted to ask you, why is sort of Instagram your preferred channel as opposed to YouTube, like Eddie here, for example? And have you also been trying other social media channels like TikTok and Threads and things like that as well? And, how do you find where to be and what's worth? Because it's got extra time, isn't it, to try and address more channels? So,
yeah, actually, things and the word changed, so I have to change in order to follow what's the trend. And following the platform, the social media platforms are continuously changing them algorithms for the video selection. So nowadays it's not about what's the important content, but what's the most attractive content, no matter what the content is. So getting an Instagram, it's much more easier to produce videos and getting an, like daily posted in there, more than the other platforms, specifically like for YouTube. It's more for the long videos, and actually shorts is a newly released. Why? Because they are following the manner that TikTok has invented.
Yeah.
TikTok gained a lot of followers and grown fast because of the style, like short videos, quickly, and that's the Gen Z behavior. The Gen Z is always looking for precise information in the shortest time possible. So after the success of TikTok's platform, they tried to implement shorts on YouTube. Well, it's not my favorite anyway, but I tried Instagram, and it has more features and possibilities to get posted on daily and get more interaction. And actually, when it worked for me on Instagram, I started not to give up on YouTube, but go more for Instagram, because there is a different kind of people who are interested in electronics, and I started developing community out there. They are amazing and more interactive than YouTube. YouTube is getting lower and lower, but I still have to post videos on YouTube when it's related to like explanation videos and tutorials. So Instagram's not the appropriate place, but YouTube's it's the right place. And still other platforms like LinkedIn, Twitter, these also places where you have to go for when you have like some specific reasons, like for example commercial or business development.
Yep.
But yeah, that's how it works, I think.
Now, Eddie, I'm going to come to you. You've chosen YouTube to be your platform. Tell us why YouTube works for you, how you sort of benefit from that, and have you been trying anything else as well, or explored what could be done?
I choose YouTube because of the long form videos I make. So my videos are minimum 10 minutes up to half an hour, and I speak slow, I go in very detail, so I'm not the Gen Z, so for me it's slow and easy to digest and explain it properly. I do try it a little bit with Instagram. I have an Instagram channel, of course, as well, but I use it mainly for pictures and not really for some YouTube or some video content.
Yeah, super. I'm going to come to you, Max. We were talking yesterday to a more marketing community, the people that run the marketing organizations at all of the exhibitors here, to sort of explain with them how to interact with B2B influencers or content creators like yourself. How do you earn money through the content creation stuff that you do? And what was your journey from just starting to make videos to the point where people suddenly thought they could work with you and financially support you in that process?
Yeah, well, when I started, I looked at this purely as a hobby. Like, I'm just going to give this a go. I'm just going to document and share whatever I love doing, my passion. But I got more and more serious and committed after I started seeing, okay, companies are starting to reach out to me because I started to bring in some more views. And so it's a mutual thing. You know, you got to give them, you have to show that you have something out there to give. You got to have some kind of audience already, some views rolling in. And they have to see an influencer fit straight away with you. So that's how I saw, that's exactly the moment where I saw companies started to reach out and all that. And they wanted to have me do product reviews, which I tried to stay off. And then I found a way to integrate them, and then I started to monetize that, had people reach out and then wanting to pay and all that. And then, I grew from there. And then now I have a YouTube channel with recurring sponsorships, people wanting to send me their products and then have me review them, show them briefly, make like these little integrations. And even better, now I have companies sending me parts which are actually within the projects themselves, which is really great, and it makes it highly relevant for people to go out and want to purchase what that company has, because it's a step in the process to them achieving the end result, which is that mini drone, that car, or whatever. And right now it is moving seamlessly, smoothly with the sponsors. There's a really great fit because of that.
And for you personally, do you see B2B influencing and content creation in this industry as your career, or is that for the time being going to be something that runs alongside your day activities, work, studying?
content creation and what I do with Max Imagination, it's my full-time thing. It's my full focus. It's all I do for work. So I see in the future I'll continue to do what I'm currently doing, posting my videos, creating the content, and then moving more B2C as well while continuing B2B.
Yeah.
So I see myself growing in that space and providing value, most importantly, to the audience and as well with companies too.
Yeah. I'm going to come back to you, DIY Chris, as well. What was your first? What was the first time that you were contacted to do any sort of sponsored content, and how did you deal with that?
Well, it's a funny story actually. When I was a student, I got an email from a Chinese company. Since it's from China, it has so many links, so it goes to the spam directly, the spam box, and they keep on sending emails, and the emails go into spam. Then they tried to send me a message through LinkedIn, and I had LinkedIn back then. So I just went to check where are these emails that they're talking about. I found it in spam. Then I started to see that it is a scam right now because it's not a real person. Because I never been used to this. I don't know that it's existing even. And yeah, I checked the website. They are real. It's true, they're from China, but they are doing this seriously. And they're suggesting sponsorship for PCBs. And since then, it was like around 8 years ago. And we're still working together until now. And consider them as a great family, not only Spencer. And we've been through many things. And I'm so happy that companies are spending money to make this happen. Because without this support, it's going to be complicated for makers to do what they're doing. Because it's not offerable for someone with limited budgets to produce and to buy the necessary tools and equipments to filming, to doing what he's doing, to develop a home lab, etc. So people almost will give up easily if they're not finding the necessary resources. And fortunately for me, it went very well. After that, I gained some other sponsors, and even when the sponsorship ends, I'm still earning like friends and contacts, and it's been like so cool. That's why I love being in a makers community, because I belong to there. I teach them sometimes, but I learn from them many times, all the time, and yeah.
Fantastic. Now, Hassan, I'm going to come back to you because your position is a bit different to some of the other people on here. You're working and have a salary sort of thing for the job that you do, but you've also got Kamitronix. So did Kamitronix did that exist before you started to work, or did that sort of formulate as you started your job and you thought, oh, we can bind these two things together?
Yeah, it's the second one. So Rafik and I have been working at Mauser for almost 3 years, Rafik for 5 years. And part of our job is to create these kind of projects that you see at the trade shows. So we build these demos. And the idea behind Kamitronix was to track the development of these projects in a more fast-paced way than the traditional way of how B2B marketing is being done. So initially, we would create the project and then write an article about it. And the whole process would just take 6 months until we have some content out. So we thought maybe if we do these Instagram and TikTok videos, we can launch more videos more frequently and even reach more people. We started with no plan in mind, and suddenly one video went viral, and from there we've just been doing our best to provide content every week, and it's been going very well. Yeah, so we are lucky that we have Mauser backing us, so whenever we build a project for Mauser, we make sure to use the content to put on Kamitronix as well. Yeah, but as the other guys here, we've been contacted also by a lot of companies. So I've seen a lot of interest from companies now that value influencer marketing in the electronics industry. So we know from fashion, from skincare, and from all these other industries that they've already tried and tested influencer marketing and have seen successes with it. And now with the electronics industry, it's been growing as well. And I think the transition to accept influencer marketing is getting more and more obvious by the amount of companies reaching out to collaborate on videos as well.
How is it for you, Eddie? Is your YouTube channel also making you money? Do you get sponsorship in? And how do you deal with what comes in? Do you accept everything, or are you very careful about the relationships you build?
I think this is the most important thing. Yeah, you should be very, very carefully what you really accept, because when you reach like 1,000 subscribers, you get almost on a daily basis flooded with some products you should show. One funny example: it was a German electronic bike producer. They want me to make a series of movies. I mean, do I look really like a biker? I mean, it doesn't work out like that, right? So I don't want to.
Maybe they were trying to tell you something.
Maybe, yeah. No, but to have some sponsorship is also very important to support your work, especially also in the beginning. It's so motivating, you know, if you really see the first time some financial benefit also of your work, because I mean, until you reached 1,000 subscribers, you made a lot of videos already and spent a lot of hours.
Yeah.
So to get something back is quite good, yeah. But
exactly.
be careful what you choose. Choose only products you would recommend your best friends, or you use it by yourself.
I'd like to come to you now again, Brian. We're lucky enough to have experienced more or less the entire history of Elector, the entire history of the semiconductor industry, because really it started to come to fruition through the 60s and 70s. That's where that's come from. We've seen a move from magazines like Elector being the place where people go to then having websites where people can go to. Now we're seeing the growth of influencers. Is it now the time to become an influencer, a content creator in this industry? And in your opinion, sort of where do we go next? What's the next thing after that?
Well, there's always room for more, as we've discovered. Even GreatScott said earlier, go ahead and make a YouTube channel. In the past, it used to be everyone was scared of competition. Like, I don't want a bakery opening next to my bakery, but this is a community that helps each other out. Everyone has their own niche, and it seldom happens that people are stealing from each other. And Elector has evolved with that, with the change from being print only to online to YouTube, and going to what we were saying earlier about how to put a resistor in a board. The learning should be multifaceted. Textbooks have their place, but by the time you've got the textbook, you've decided you want to do that, and it will tell you how to put the resistor in the board. But a publication like Elector or these influencers showing completed projects will tell you why you want to put the resistor. Look at the cool stuff I can make. Yep. Look at the cool stuff they make and the cool stuff we publish.
And what do you see as the next step? How are influencers going to be integrated into our industry and also our media landscape?
Well, they already are, and a lot of synergies going on, and they're growing. It's not as compartmentalized anymore. Businesses are chasing you to show off their bicycles, for example, and it used to be siloed, but now everything is becoming a lot more organic and growing into each other. So we're all interdependent and hopefully supportive of each other.
Exactly. And I think that's the nicest thing about this industry. I've been coming here to Electronica for 20 years. This is my 20th anniversary. I remember the excitement I had representing National Semiconductor in Hall B3, I think it was that year, and showing off a Bluetooth aftermarket system for automotive. And since then, I've been coming here and to all the other exhibitions throughout the year and just love the community spirit. And that's what everybody feels here as well. That lives alongside this industry, and we all benefit from that. Now, we've got a great audience here. Is there any questions from the audience to our content creators, or any questions about how content creation goes about? We've got one here in the middle.
Chris, you already talked about that filming is expensive. I would like to know what is the minimum equipment you should have as content creator?
All you need is your phone. You all have this supercomputer, super device in your pocket. You can either be on the consuming side or you can be on the producing side, and you can choose right now what you want to do with it. You can consume just mindlessly, scroll on reels, consume content, or you can consume with the intention to create and then go out and produce.
What about Chris? How do you go about it? What have you got?
It was a bit difficult talking like 10 years ago to do this through mobile phones because cameras and phones are not that good back then, but it requires some camera and like some specific tools like a microphone, etc. And it was really expensive back then. 10 years ago, technology is not like today. Yeah, 10 years is not too much, but technology goes so fast. So 10 years ago, cameras were very expensive. In order to make a professional video or attractive content, you have to bring the best tools you have, but with limited budget, you're in a limited space. But nowadays, as Max said, yeah, you only need your mobile phone probably for filming and editing, but still, a DSLR camera doesn't hurt. And I'm using several devices actually, combining the tools that I have, and it depends on what I'm filming. For example, for tiny components, which I'm often dealing with, a camera will not do too much, but a digital microscope camera is better. And yeah, if you want to start like filming videos, also it depends on the platform. You will not use your DSLR camera to make videos for Instagram. Instagram more suitable with the phones, mobile phones, and it's very quick and it's easy. Yeah.
Eddie, I'm going to come to you. How have you approached the technology side, camera, microphone, lighting? What have you got set up?
So my first 60 movies I made was entirely just made with a phone.
Right.
Phone, and then I upgraded with microphone. So it came step by step, and then I added a green screen, proper light, and proper cameras, of course, but don't invest everything at the first place.
Yeah.
Try it out, let's see, make content, and if you feel fun, then spend later some money to get better.
Yeah.
And my best movie is my second movie. So entirely phone, bad cutting, bad voice.
You've done it all. Hassan, let's explore your journey with Kamitronix. How did you start, and what do you use today?
So, as Eddie said, the beginning is always you have the idea to start filming a video. The last thing you want to do is invest money into equipment and then have the video reach 10 people, and it's just a waste of money and waste of time. So for Rafika and I, it was also the same. We started with our phones. We then started experimenting with for lighting, with microphones, with other equipment like a tripod and so on, and have realized that sometimes when you have too much equipment, the setup to create the video takes too much time. So a lot of times we go back to the simple, just holding the phone in our hands, or just sometimes we use books and other stuff in the lab to position the phone in a way that captures the view or the angle that we want to do. So we are very creative with how we place our phone in the lab. Sometimes dangerous, very dangerous for the phone as well when it's leaning on a soldering iron. But the quicker the setup, the quicker you get the videos out. And in today's fast-paced world, this is
the best way.
A very key element. Yeah.
Super. We've got another question in the audience. What's your question, and who would you like to direct it to?
Hi, my name is Martin Jurko from Engineer. And
Sorry, we can't quite hear you. Could you hold the
My name is
microphone?
Martin Jurko. I'm from Engineer Company. And I have a question to Edie. You are making long videos, especially regarding to the fast-paced world. How do you approach this short attention span that kids have, for example? I have three.
Sorry,
I'll explain. Yeah.
So the fast-paced world, how do you approach this slow attention span that kids have and students that nowadays only can last around 6 seconds or so? I don't know exactly. How do you address this?
So the question is, you focus mostly on long-form videos. That's a medium that maybe we're sort of more used to, having grown up with television and sitting down. Younger generation is always said they have a very short attention span. You need to grab them in the first 6 seconds. How do you do anything different with your videos now to capture them in those first 6 seconds and address the younger generation's sort of short attention span?
Yes, in the intro I try to have a cliffhanger to get their attention. But my audience is mainly 50 up. So
yeah,
I get most of the emails, hello, I'm 75 years old and I'm still in this electronic hobby, thank you for your work. And so all the feedback I get is like 50 up. You can see it also in YouTube. So I mainly create content for the older generation.
Yeah, super. Any more questions in the audience? One over here. If we could get the microphone down to Heidi here at the front. Lovely to see you.
Thanks for the panel. It's very interesting. So my question would be, was there any point at which you were close to giving up, and what was it that kept you going?
An excellent question. Eddie, have you ever considered giving up?
No. The first 1.5 or 2 years you're making videos for a very, very small audience without seeing any money. So if you don't like it and love it what you do, you would stop anyway already after the second video.
Yeah.
The success come after time.
Yeah.
And then it's just nice to have the benefit of some earnings as well in doing what you love to do.
Yeah. Brian?
Yeah, if I might just say, there is one arena in which you did give up, cycling.
Yeah, the cycling never took off. Max, yourself, ever considered giving up?
Never. This has been my childhood passion. First of all, I believe I chose the right thing and pursued it. There were moments where it was tough, and that was in the projects, the building of the very things that I show how to create. But I never considered giving up. I kept going there. You may feel like, oh, yeah, it's getting hard, but you just need to keep pushing. You just need to manage your time wisely and still get it done. And yeah, just keep going. That's it. Consistency is key. It's very simple. It's like putting one foot in front of the other. You only need to focus what you're doing now. You don't have to look at the whole road ahead, right?
Yep.
And then it becomes a lot easier. That's it. That's the key, consistency.
You are a mini-me. Me, 30 years younger. DIY guy Chris, ever want to give up?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Actually, when I joined the industry back 7 years ago for my full-time job, I have a limited time to do what I'm doing for the social media community, and I started to feel that I'm going a bit slower than before. And for social media platforms, the algorithm will love you if you're posting frequently, so it pushes you forward. But if you are not posting frequently, your content will be not posted ahead. And I struggled at the beginning to find enough time to post content on social media, but step by step, I was like, okay, maybe it's time to stop, rather than dropping random content. And step by step, I get some support from my friends, and especially from my leader, the technical plant manager in the company that I'm working for. And they were very supportive to just make me go forward and don't give up. And here he is, we're still working.
And Hassan, I guess you'll just give up when you've made the millions.
When I have my Porsche,
yeah.
911. No, but for me, the lucky or the good thing about Kamitronix is that we are 2 people and not just one person, which many influencers are. So I remember when I was doing my graduation project, at that time I just had 0 time for creating content, and I had to rely on Rafik the whole time. So I imagine if I was doing it alone, probably I could have skipped posting some videos and I might have never came back, right? But having Rafik posting while I was busy, when I came back, there was already the consistency going on. And yeah, so from day one, we said consistency is key. And we have a great partnership. Whenever someone has a downtime or a lack of motivation, the other one just kicks him and pushes him to
to continue.
To continue.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
there, a little teamwork, that helps. You don't need the best camera in the world. Plenty of ideas and projects, support from the community, and yeah, just keep going. Thank you ever so much for your participation. We really appreciate it here at Elector that you've taken the time to come and listen. We also say an enormous thank you to Mauser for sponsoring this event and allowing Hassan a little time away from his conveyor belt. And Rafiq in the background there to come and support us. Thank you ever so much. If you want to find us, we're at electromagazine.com. Max Imagination is on YouTube. DIY Guy Chris is on Instagram. GreatScott is on YouTube, and we look forward to seeing him in person again. Eddie's Tech Lab you'll find on YouTube as well. Kamitronix, mostly on Instagram, and Mauser at mauser.com. If you have any questions you didn't want to ask in public, we're here. Come and have a chat with us. We can talk offline. And yeah, get online, get creating, and interact with this community. We're all ready to help and support you. Thank you very much. Enjoy your journey home and the last few hours of Electronica 2024.
Thanks, Stuart.